So, welcome to all the people out there who are watching. Today, I've invited Beth Gendler. Is it Gendler or Gendler? It's Gendler.
Yep.
Gendler. Okay. To talk to us about what's happening in Minneapolis. And Beth Gendler is the executive director of Jewish Community Action in Minnesota. She's an organization rooted in community organizing, mutual support, and justice work in Minnesota. And Beth and I will talk in more detail in a moment. But anyone who's watched me do a live before, I always start with gratitude. So it is still morning where Beth is, but it's like 12 o'clock here. And the best blessing for gratitude is what we wake up and say every morning. So if you know this, you can say Modeh or Moda ani lefanecha ruachai v'kayam, shazarta bi nishmati b'chemlecha rabah emunatecha. And I'm going to take some liberties with the translation and say thank you, the divine source of everything, everything, for allowing us to return to our breath, restoring our souls, and gathering today with full hearts. And the best part is that in this blessing, we remember that the divine source of everything is awesome. God is awesome. And I also want to offer a prayer for this moment that we're in, for the pain that we're in, offer some healing and also blessing for people who are out there protesting. Uh, May those who are suffering find comfort. May those who march for justice be shielded from harm. May our hearts break open, not in despair, but in resolve. And may we stand with our neighbors resisting violence and systemic harm. And may we work towards peace that is just. And I wouldn't be a rabbi if I didn't offer all these blessings. No, I'm sorry, I'm being silly. I've been on Zoom already. This is my third virtual conversation today. I get a little punchy after them. But I wouldn't be a rabbi if I didn't mention this week's Torah portion in some way. We're in Parshat Bo, which is one of my favorite Torah portions, and it reminds us that God brings people out of oppression. Because this is the Torah portion where um, we remember that the folks that left Mitzrayim, the folks that left Egypt, were a mixed multitude of people. And this portion reminds us that God brings people out of oppression with purpose and urgency. And it's a call to step into transformation, a reminder that liberation is real and liberation requires courage, witness, and collective moment. So just take a breath and right now, unless you have been living under a rock, we know that Minneapolis is stressed right now with federal immigration enforcement in Minnesota and communities in Minneapolis and surrounding areas. Um, and I've seen many violent videos that cause me that just break my heart that we are witnessing this. And instead of going on about that, I want to invite Beth now to introduce yourself.
Thanks for having me, Rabbi Sandra. It is an honor to be here with you and with everyone who's listening. My name is Beth Gendler. I use she and her pronouns. I'm the executive director of Jewish Community Action in Minnesota. We organize the Minnesota Jewish Community for Racial and Economic Justice. And I mean, what a time to be a Minnesotan. We are collectively yearning for the time when people just made fun of us for liking hockey too much and talking like the people in the movie Fargo. There's this sentiment going around in the movement spaces like make Minnesota flyover country again. But we haven't been flyover country for a while.
Yeah.
We our history started bloody and violent with the occupation of Fort Snelling and a concentration camp where the native Dakota were concentrated, worked, died because of the harsh conditions. There have been massacres of Native folks on this land since before it became a state. More recently, the clashes in the 1960s that drove the African American and Jewish communities both together and apart in our community. And then, of course, with the murder of George Floyd, just blocks away from where Renee Good was murdered a couple of weeks ago. While we are known for hockey and loons and hot dish and all of the silly things, we can't turn away from our state's violent history, and we are seeing what's happening right now in the streets.
Yeah. I also want to thank you for that. I also want to say that so I'm the executive director of Carolina Jews for Justice, and Beth and I know each other because JCA is like a sister organization to Carolina Jews for Justice, and we are in this bigger Jewish social justice ecosystem. And I got to meet Beth this summer, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again, hopefully in better times. What do you love about Minneapolis?
I love nearly everything about Minneapolis. I'm not native to Minnesota. I mean, none of us are, but you know what I mean. I moved here in 1995, and one of the things about Minnesota is if you're not, even though I've been there for 30 years, if you're not from here, you're not from here. That's not the part that I love so much, but I love the lakes. I don't mind this bananas 20 below weather. There is something cleansing and bracing about being outside and having the air make you gasp. I can't believe I'm saying this, but that is okay. The people, especially now, the way that we are coming together as a Minnesota community across race and class and space and everything else to say, hell no, not in our town, not in our state, is actually really beautiful. And in my finer moments, I truly believe that the way that people have come together and created neighborhood networks of protection for one another, that system is going to survive beyond this. And look out, because Minnesota is doing amazing and powerful things, and we will continue to do that. There is and Minneapolis is just a really cool town. For those of you that come visit us in the winter. It is a pretty great place. And I don't want to also discount the fact that it is also a very segregated town, that it is a great place to be white and middle class. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But the structures and the connections that we're building between and among and within communities right now are going to change things systemically and structurally in ways that I am really excited to see happen.
So I've heard a lot of comparisons, and not the same, but comparisons to what happened to Renee Nicole Good and George Floyd. One was local law enforcement. This is federal law enforcement, and also I've heard that because of the what happened with George Floyd, the systems organizationally were in place, which has allowed people to organize quite quickly. Can you say more about that?
Yeah, we know how to do this here in Minnesota. We know how to rise up, and we know how to rise up safely. We know how to support each other through the uprising. We learned some things back in 2020. You always learn from mistakes that are made and things that didn't go quite as well. But we've really created the structures. And JCA, my organization, back in 2020, created a space for organizations, a broad, diverse group of organizations to come together to make sure that we protect and defend democracy. There was concern after the 2020 and again the 2024 elections about unrest that may occur in those spaces because of what we learned when George Floyd was murdered, because of what we were seeing at the national level. So we had this sort of container in place. And we recognized about this time last year that it was time to reactivate that container. And we did. And I am so proud to say, I'm proud of a couple of things. First, that because I'm a part of JCA, it's my organization, that we are a part of the core team that is organizing across this really broad swath of differences to come together to meet this moment. We are now 90 organizations strong.
Wow.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
It includes faith organizations like ours. It includes labor unions. It includes democratic socialist organizations. It includes the Women's March. It includes environmental organizations, reproductive freedom organizations, gender justice organizations across every sector of Minnesotans that care about democracy. And because of that, we're going to win. We have done this work with such intention and care, with a commitment to nonviolent direct action, even understanding that sometimes our tactics and strategies may differ. We may not always agree. We may not share issue platforms or anything else really, but we're coming together with this shared commitment to Minnesota and to democracy and to getting ICE out.
Yeah. So with that, like, I know that there was like a bat signal that was sent out of asking for clergy to come to Minnesota. And do you know how many clergy folks are planning to descend on your state?
Several hundred.
Yeah, that's
Um,
pretty awesome.
We actually had to cut off the registration this morning due to our capacity. That doesn't mean that if you are a clergy out there and you are listening and you didn't register for the program on Thursday that's going to prepare folks for Friday, we still want you to come. We want 100,000 people in the streets on Friday. So we absolutely welcome you in. It just means that this faith in gathering is full, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Cross denomination, tradition, um, people have answered the call. It has been really heartening to see the entire country really come together to support us. We need it.
So one of the things well, in this world we're living in right now, a lot of people in our communities and Jewish communities are fearful, and sadly, the sort of how I see the sort of trauma response is to isolate. To we have to we have to work on it ourselves. We can't rely on other folks to help us. I'm not saying I subscribe to that belief, but for those people who are concerned about that, why is this a Jewish issue? Why should Jews be involved? I mean, you present as a white person, you're not being targeted. Why is this important to Jews?
Um, White Jews in America, most of us have our own history that mirrors the one that we're seeing now. Um, my own father was a refugee from Nazi Germany, right? So he came here at 16 after having survived the war on a Kindertransport. He had never been a citizen of anywhere, came to the US as a refugee. This was the only country that welcomed him and gave him citizenship. And pardon me for a second. And the America that we're seeing now is a travesty to everything that we believed in. Sandra, I am so sorry. I need to grab some water. Can you
Go for it.
sit
Yeah,
for a
please,
minute while I
please
do
get some
that?
water.
Okay, I'm so
Yes.
sorry. Okay.
No, do what you got to do. I don't want you coughing. Take care of yourself. Hi, everybody. Beth will be back soon.
I am so sorry.
Oh, no, please, please get some water. I have been there where you are, where I didn't bring water on one of these.
As you can imagine, we are running a mile a minute.
Yeah, yeah.
And forgetting my mug of water is one thing that happened. And when it's 20 below zero, the air's a little dry.
Yes.
Where were we?
Yeah, Sarah, who follows me, she wrote, "A quiet pause for us is hydrate." Yes, totally subscribe to that. So I don't know. Like, I want to ask you how we got here. So people like this is totally crazy that when I think about immigration enforcement, I'm thinking about Texas, Florida. Um, I think like Texas was sending immigrants or to other cities. Why isn't law enforcement or ICE enforcement there? The answer is this is a red state. That's my response. But Minnesota, which is like the Midwest, the heart of the country. I grew up, I'm a Midwesterner at heart, although I live in the South and I love the South also because my parents and my entire family is Southerners. But the Midwest, cheese. I don't know if that's a right right food for Minnesota. Uh,
Yeah, beer, cheese, and
but
hockey. I mean,
yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so like I that is the like question is but like I think we kind of know the answer. But is there something you want to say? Anything you want to say? But like I mean I know that I don't know what's in our president's head, but I'm assuming it's some kind of retribution. But to and I think he probably expected people to be afraid, and they sent more troops. But instead, people are showing up. You know, but at Minnesota, that's just it's not. Yeah, I don't know what to say to that.
I mean, we know the answer. It's
Yeah.
political
Hmm.
retribution. It's it is trying to make an example of Minnesota. It is certainly a test or a proving ground to see if they can get away with it here, and to take it to other places.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think it's going to end here. I also don't think any of us ever imagined that it could be this bad. And it really is this bad.
Yeah.
It is everywhere. It's not just in certain parts of Minneapolis. This is a little bit of a funny, I don't know, personal story aside. So, we're having hundreds and hundreds of clergy coming here this weekend. My spouse is traveling. I'm hosting a couple folks in my home.
Mhm.
I don't have time to clean my house. And so for the
Mm.
first time in my grown-up adult life, I'm like, I need help. So um, having somebody come and clean my house today, which feels so luxurious and so grown up. So that is happening as we speak. But as I'm driving to come here, I see ice a block away
Mm.
and
Mm.
had to quick text them and say, ice is on the street. Be careful. They're citizens, but they're brown. And
Yeah.
this is, it is literally everywhere. There's a coffee shop kitty corner from my house that is frequented by a ton of these just awesome Somali kids that hang out
Mhm.
there. So my neighborhood is constantly being watched and monitored. And
Mm.
um, sorry, that wasn't the question you asked. The how did we get here? Political retribution.
Yeah.
Yes, there was a fraud problem in Minnesota. It was masterminded by a middle-aged white woman, but many of the providers
Right.
did happen to be Somali, and so it is making an example of it. It is absolutely false to demonize an entire community because of the acts of a few. And that's
Mhm.
exactly what's happening. But they're not stopping there. They're
Yeah.
going after everyone and they don't care if you're
Mhm.
legal or not.
So I know that what you were. I'm glad you're getting your house clean, and I'm glad you. That is, I'm really happy because I can't even really imagine what it must be like. But like, what are some of the stories that you're hearing on the ground from folks? I mean, I've seen videos of women being pulled out of their car, people coming out of their house half clothed. I've heard the stories, and I think it's really important for people to listen to us have this conversation and maybe share something that you've heard, that you've witnessed, that just sort of breaks your, well, just go with that.
It all breaks my heart, and I'm glad that people are seeing these stories. I'm horrified that individual humans have to suffer the humiliation at the hands of ICE, and then the re-humiliation and re-traumatization, is that a word? But of like this man my age who gets pulled out of his house in his underpants, right? And thrown into a car. He's a citizen. They drive him around for a couple hours and then drop him back off. I mean, it's the cruelty is staggering. And I mean, I've been on the front lines on occasion. So I have stood, this close to ICE, and just the lack of soul or humanity in the humans that are doing this to my neighbors is terrifying. Um, so yes, you're seeing the things on the news. That is good. Know that those are not isolated incidents.
Yeah.
It's happening in every neighborhood, all the time, everywhere, not just in Minneapolis, also in St. Paul, also in greater Minnesota. There are a lot of industries in greater Minnesota that have large immigrant workforce populations. It is statewide. The ICE officials outnumber law enforcement at least 2-1, and they keep sending more. They're threatening to send in the military. It is nothing short of an invasion of our state. We are at war with our own government. There is, not to put too fine a point on it, that is what is happening. And like I said, we are deep in these coalition spaces, multi-faith, multiracial, immigrant-led. I have not been in a single meeting in the past couple of weeks where somebody hasn't had to step away because ICE is at their door, ICE is at their family member's door, ICE is at their office's door. It's constant. A friend of mine who works in this space who has a large immigrant family called me a week ago and said they picked up my cousin. We got to go get her papers down to the federal building. I don't want to go in there alone. Can you come with me? So it is absolutely personal. Every single one of us knows someone who has been directly impacted. Every single one of us in movement space has been face to face with ICE. I've picked up my colleagues off the ground after having been pushed by ICE simply for standing there. This is real. And I'm just an old lady, right? I mean, I'm just a 50-something mom from Minnesota, and this is happening to all of us.
But I think that's what people are seeing. Like I've heard stories on the news that the administration believes these are like professional protesters, but when people are interviewed on the street, they're just average citizens that are fed up. And often I keep hearing stories about people who haven't protested because they don't want their neighbors taken. And I hear a lot of harkening back to like Nazi era, and I understand that, but this has happened before in our country. With slave enforcement. I can't think of the name of what they called those folks, but and then during Jim Crow. So we have had this in our own country before. It's just it is affecting so many people, and so for people watching this or learning about this who aren't in Minnesota or not in Minneapolis, how can they stand in solidarity with you? What can they do? What kind of support can they offer? Yeah.
Use your voice.
Mm-hmm.
Don't look away. Share what's happening. Share stories that you hear. If you're somebody who has resources to donate, Rabbi Sandra, I can send you a good link of
Please.
for mutual aid, for support, for also for helping those of us that are doing the organizing. Of course, not just JCA. There are a lot of organizations doing this work in Minnesota. I'll get you a list. Come on Friday if you want. if you can. It's hard to get here. It's
Yeah.
gonna be really cold. Or don't come Friday, but come join us
Yeah.
sometime. Understand the risks. I've been tear gassed 3 times. It
Mm.
happens regularly, indiscriminately. So know what you're getting yourself into, but
Yeah.
mostly support the folks on the ground, use your voice, use your vote. We need deep systemic change.
2 more questions for you, because I know you have a meeting to go to, so I really appreciate this time. What lessons from the work that you're doing in Minnesota might resonate with folks? Because ICE is coming. I mean, they've already been in my state, but not to the degree that they've been in your state. But what lessons from this work might resonate with people beyond Minnesota?
I'm really glad you asked that.
Mhm.
Yeah, because they're coming for everyone to the extent they haven't already. Um, don't isolate.
Mhm.
Don't give in to that impulse that I think all of us feel when we're feeling attacked. Don't give in to
Yeah.
that impulse of insularity or isolation. We know that we keep us safe. We keep
Yeah.
each other safe, and we're only safe if we're out there in solidarity with other marginalized communities. So my advice is build relationships, make some friends, build
Mhm.
coalitions, stay away from purity tests or issue
Mhm.
tests. Understand that this movement takes all of us.
Mhm.
Set aside differences, work them out later, or work them out when you're actually in relationship with each
Mhm.
other. Um, we keep each other safe.
Yeah. So my last question to you, as a mom, as a Jewish mom, as an organizer, as an executive, um, how do you hold your Jewish grounding in this moment, and what sustains you?
I think it is a rootedness and a connection to my people and my history.
Mm, mhm.
This is the story and the experience of our people.
Yeah.
Um, this isn't about us at the
Mhm.
moment, and it
Yeah.
is absolutely about us at the
Yeah.
moment, right now and always.
Yeah. Thank you, Beth. Stay safe. Um, if people want to connect to JCA, or if they want to connect to you, um, what can they do? How can they connect with you or JCA and your work?
Please reach out. jewishcommunityaction.org, all spelled out. My email is beth@jewishcommunityaction.org.
Mhm.
Couldn't be easier. Yeah, I'm busy. Yeah, it might take me a little while to respond in this particular moment, but I love
Mhm.
hearing from people across the country. I love making new friends,
Mhm.
new connections, and it's been a real honor to be with you
Yeah.
and to have this conversation.
Yeah. Thank you for joining this. When I asked, you said yes right away, and please stay safe to the degree that you can. I know you will. And you have a lot of support, a lot of people thinking about your state. And I don't know if you saw the hearts coming on the screen. Um, but anything that that I can do, that others can do, just please don't hesitate to reach out. Like you said, don't isolate. Um, and it's Minnesota, Minneapolis today, and tomorrow, it'll be some other towns. So if people aren't awake yet, they need to wake up. But thank you, and I don't know. I want to say have a great day, but it sucks. I'm like, I don't know what this is.
I most certainly will not,
Yeah.
but
No. Anyway, I'll
we
talk
got
to
we
you
gotta
soon,
laugh. We
Ben.
gotta stay strong and find the joy.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.